My name is Shasta and welcome to my channel, A Girl Named Shasta. I wanted to introduce myself. I also want to introduce my dog Albert. He is the love of my life. He is a 9-year-old Chipu rescue that I got at the beginning of COVID. I've had him over a year now and he is the love of my life. I'm going to share a picture here, my favorite. He's such a cutie. So if you hear him, he might pop in for a video appearance later on at some point, but he is the best and he always likes to snuggle with me when I read and he is just the best, so I had to introduce him as well. So yeah, I thought that the best way to get started on booktube would be to share a little bit about myself and do so through the awesome questions that are the booktube newbie tag. And I thought that'd be a great way to share about myself, what I'm thinking for this channel, a little bit about me and whatnot. I've watched many booktubers do this same tag and really just loved getting to know them and thought this was a great way to do the same for myself. So I'll get started. The first question is, why did you start this channel? I would love to be original in my answer and be like, oh, I have some ascended, amazing answer. But honestly, I just really want to talk about books. I love talking about books and I wanted to do so in a community that I feel like is so amazing. And I just thought that I would love to share. And so I'm starting a channel. I've been wanting to for years and years. I've watched many booktubers and followed them and interacted and commented and had great conversations in the comments of booktubes, and I just love that. And so I wanted to get started and see if I could do it too, which I'm excited about and nervous, but I just want to do this. And so yeah, that's why I started this channel. The second question is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to booktube? And I think the difference in my content is going to be that I do my reading monthly based on book clubs. So I'm currently in 6 book clubs, and I like to do the big library read every when that comes out, so that would be 7. It may not be that I'm reading the most current or the most talked about books at the moment. They might be old, they may be classics, they may be newer, but it's not going to be it was published 2 days ago and I'm reading it. So it's going to be a little different. So if that is what you like, which I love to watch videos that are about what's just coming out, hearing people review things based on arcs that they receive is just amazing. Like, it's so cool to just see people reading books before anybody else gets them. It's so awesome. But I love my library. I love the library system. And the books that we get it takes a while for the library to get enough and for me to actually get my hands on new books. So sometimes they're a little older, but I don't mind to wait. And I love to watch people who talk about books that I can't quite get my hands on yet. And that's not to say I don't buy books. I buy way too many books, but I base most of my main reading on book clubs. And then any reading I do outside of book clubs are books that I buy, because as you can see, I have a few. But I do love the conversations that I get to have in book club. And I think talking about books based on the conversations that I have in book club will be just a really interesting way to discuss, because I read a book and I have my own thoughts on it, but then if I go to book club and then other people discuss it, it honestly makes me think a little bit different about even how I perceive the book. So I just think it's a super fun and unique way to read books and get that chance to talk to people in book club, but then get a chance to talk to people even outside of book club. And I will hopefully also review books that I'm reading from book club, but I don't want to do spoilers. I just want to give a kind of general overview of the book, my thoughts on the book, and the thoughts of the people who are in book club with me. And I think that that'll be super fun, and it'll also be interesting for me to kind of be like, this is what I thought, but in book club, this is what other people thought. So it's just a different way of looking at books, and I'm excited, and I just think it'll be a fun way to share that experience with you all. So yeah, I think that that's kind of a unique take on my reading habits. So the third question, what are you most excited about for this new channel? And I would say my answer to that is just to have a voice in this community and to share my thoughts and to really just do something that I've wanted to do for a really long time and just doing it. And I've had support from friends and family and different people on booktube who have been so kind to encourage me to do this, and so I'm really excited to do it. So number 4, why do you love reading? I have thought about this, and I have to say that I just love it. It's hard to explain why you love reading. It's transportive. It takes you to a world that you couldn't go to or couldn't even imagine, especially when you go into high fantasy. It's like, I would have never thought of anything like this, and it's just so amazing. I would also say that for me, I will probably mention throughout my videos that I do have a struggle with mental health issues, of which I am getting help with. I see a therapist, I take medication, and it's something that's near and dear to my heart. And so for me, with my anxiety and depression, reading sometimes is the only thing that can help me. When I am in a moment of high anxiety, sometimes just opening a book is something that can really bring me into the present and give me calm. And sometimes when I struggle on the other end of the spectrum with depression, a lot of times I'm able to pick up a book that's super happy and that I know is going to have a great pick-me-up kind of feel to it, and I'm able to read that and really feel a change in my mood. So it's something that's very much for my mental health and my overall health, and I just find it so amazing that words written on pages have such power, and to me that's just so amazing, on top of all the other things that are amazing about reading. The fact that, you know, worlds can be created, stories can be told, I mean, it's unbelievable. But for me, the mental health aspect of it and just the power that is behind the written word is just amazing to me. And so I would say my love of reading stems from so many different ways, but I mean, for me, it's just all great. I mean, something that it's so powerful. And so that love just comes from that kind of that awe of the written word. And yeah, so number 5, which book or series got you into reading? And it's hard to answer. I could say that my mom read to me when I was in her belly. She's a huge reader. She's great, like the greatest person, and she is an avid reader. She's a speed reader. She can get through them books as fast as can be. She is just like going through so fast. She reads more books than I can fathom. And but yeah, she read to me when I was in her belly. And they say the things you do before. I don't know, I don't have kids, but you know, she read to me, and then all I remember, even in my earliest memories, I remember her reading to me different stories. And I think that just seeing her reading all the time made me want to read. And so I would say the first memories I have are of reading the Pony Pals series, which I'll put one up here. And I loved horses. I grew up on a farm, and Pony Pals were just the best books. I remember reading them, but I vaguely remember them. The books that I feel like really, really got me started, I'm sorry, the camera shook, were Nancy Drew. And Nancy Drew was my life. And I don't know if you can kind of see, if you're familiar with Nancy Drew, those yellow books right there are Nancy Drew's. And I like to collect Nancy Drew books. I have the full yellow series, but I also collect older editions of my favorite Nancy Drew books. And so that's really the series that kind of just threw me into reading. I had to devour them all. I would read them over and over again. And that's really the series that got me really into reading, which of course then got me into mysteries and crime solving and things like that. So great series. If you have not read Nancy Drew, even if you're an adult, read this. It's such a good series. There's a lot of interesting history behind it. If you know anything about Nancy Drew with the ghostwriting and the fact that the original author only wrote so many, and then other ghostwriters would come in and write for her. So I, did a report, my senior report was on ghostwriting, and it was because of Carolyn King and just the whole system that Simon & Schuster did with her, and when she passed, and how they had other authors come in and write for her, and how you can go from book to book and see that change. So it's a little more than just what series, but and a little history there, but that is the series that really got me going. I mean, that's when I really remember just devouring books, and I could not get enough. So yeah, number 6, what questions would I ask my favorite booktuber? So I think the question I would ask is, how do you make it look so effortless? To how do you read so many books? The main YouTuber that I follow that I just adore, I mean, she reads so many books, and I know she has a full-time job, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like she must be a speed reader to the nth degree like my mom is, because I must be pretty slow. I mean, I thought I read fast, but she devours them, and I'm like, how does she do it? How did you teach yourself to read so fast, and how do you make the time and things like that? And then I would also say, just like I would love for YouTubers or booktubers who have been doing this for a long time. It would be really cool to have like a list of questions that they would answer, and kind of like, I don't know, like from say you did the booktube newbie tag, so from there to where you are years later, how are you doing? Like, how is it what you thought it would be? Is it, like, is this the journey you thought that it would take you on, and things like that. So anyways, that's what I would ask, I think, my favorite booktubers. Yeah, so number 7, what challenge do you think starting a booktube channel will be hardest to overcome? So for me, I think that challenge will be my nerves and having that confidence to actually post content. I know I'm going through this whole video, I'm recording it, I'm terrified to post it. And I'm probably going to hang on to it for who knows how long before I finally post it. I'm not going to tell you what date that is, because it could be months before I actually post it and get up the nerve. So I think that's going to be my struggle, is just that nerves. And my thing to myself, which I will go ahead and say now, is that if this becomes at any time stressful or causes me any additional anxiety, I will not do this. Or it's not that I will just stop, but I mean, my content may not be consistently coming out in like she's going to post on a Monday, then she's going to post on a Friday, and it's always going to be consistent. Anytime I have any anxiety or have any issues or stress that comes from this, I'm definitely not going to allow this to overtake my life. I want to do this for fun and excitement. And I want to have a great time doing it. And if that ever stops, I'm definitely going to take care of myself. So yeah, I would say that's the challenge I'm a little bit worried about. So yeah, number 8 is, when did you start reading? And I think that I've heard other people who've done this tag feel like that's very much the same as like the question of like, which book series and stuff did you read and whatnot. But anyways, I digress. Anyways, I would answer that question and say that I really started reading. Like I said, when I was younger, I started reading the Nancy Drew books, Hardy Boys, all that stuff. But when I really got the re-kick was after college, because college is nothing but reading and I didn't have time to do it for fun while I was in college. So I would say 2009 was when I really got started up again reading and really just enjoying reading after being in college and being like, oh my goodness, all I do is read. My brain can't handle even reading for fun. So I would think that that's probably the time that I really got back into it and really just started enjoying it again, because college is hard and who's got time to read when you're doing all that college stuff? So anyways, but yeah, that's, I would say I really started to get back to reading in 2009, and going forward, it's just, you know, it's grown. I've had some years that I haven't read as much, or, you know, things have just been going on and I didn't put as much focus on it. But over the last, I would say 5 years for sure, I have been reading more than I've ever read. So yeah, number 9 is, where do I read? So I am not too exotic about where I read. I like to read anywhere and everywhere, but my main place is in bed at night, and I love to read before I go to bed. I don't read thrillers or true crime or super intense mysteries before I go to bed, because then my brain will not shut off, and then I am a meme of, oh, just 5 more minutes, and it's, you know, 3 and 4 in the morning. Oh, just 5 more minutes, and then my alarm's going off. So I try to, you know, read as short as I can at night, but that's usually where I read in bed. I also just have a comfy corner of my couch that I like to read in. When I do quite a bit of traveling and hope to more. Well, I haven't traveled while COVID's been going on, but when I do travel, I love to read and listen. I love to read physical books on airplanes, but I also like to listen to audiobooks because my ears pop a lot, and so having that sound in my ears helps a lot when I'm on a plane. And I just love to read anywhere I can. I mean, I'll have a book with me. I usually have my traveling book, so I'll have a book with me that stays in my purse that I just read whenever I'm out and about. Sometimes I'll take my Kindle if I have a book on there. But I'll have the traveling book that I'll take with me, and I'll read if I'm sitting in line at Kroger's pharmacy to get a prescription. I'll sit there, you know, and read while I'm waiting. So I have a traveling book. So I like to read everywhere, but honestly, the most reading that I do is in the corner of my couch. And then I do have a balcony, and so I will sit outside and read, you know, if the weather is nice. So I like to read, and wherever I can read, I will read. So I would say anywhere and everywhere. So the last question is, so number 10, what kind of books do I like to read? And I will tell you that one of the main reasons that I decided to join a book club years and years ago was because I was reading Regency romances and cozy mysteries, and that was it. And there is nothing wrong with that. Those are my bread and butter. They are my favorite kinds of books. Cozy, comfy, a little scandal, a little smut, but nothing crazy. And I just realized that I was reading the same books all the time, and I wanted to branch out. And I know that this is going to probably be shocking to some people, but like when I went to book club, and it was the second book club I joined, and we read a historical fiction, I didn't even know what historical fiction was. Like, I felt awful, but like I asked the librarian, I was like, what is historical fiction? Like, is it just fiction set in a in a historical time, and I was like, oh wow, this is good stuff. Like, so it's based on characters and people in a time, but then the story, I was like, oh, this is amazing. So now I'm like, oh my gosh, historical fiction. I didn't even know about it. Like, that's so crazy. I don't understand how I was not more aware of what was going on in the world. But anyways, in the world of books. But I was like shocked at how many different genres in books that I didn't know about. I mean, I read historical fiction. I, am reading a true crime for the first time, which I'm giving that a try. I read, all the genres, science fiction, fantasy, which I would pick up every once in a while. But like I said, my favorite was Regency romance and cozy mystery. So I never even thought about like other books. I was just like, these are the books I like. And then I realized, I'm like, there's so much more out there that I really need to give these a try. So I joined book club to really broaden my reading horizons. And it's done that. It's crazy amazing, the books that I have found that I would absolutely never pick up. But because of book club, I have read books that have changed my life, opened my eyes. Like, it's so great. So, I mean, right now, I still love cozy mysteries. Love me some cozy mysteries. But I've found that I really enjoy historical fiction. I love sci-fi, which I would pick up every once in a while, but I love the sci-fi, and I'm really starting to slowly get into a little more fantasy because we've read a few in book club. I'm not a super fan of just contemporary, just like a story, if that makes sense. Like, that doesn't really have anything much going on. Like, I need something like a mystery or a little bit of paranormal or a little bit of this or a little bit of that. Like, I struggle with just like contemporary fiction where it's just about life. And I think that goes back to the why of reading. I think that there is that ability to escape, and I feel like if you're just reading something that's just about life that's not any different than life, then is it really escaping? Yeah, there's other people and other characters, but to me, I want to escape, and I want to escape. And so that little bit of escapism is in there, but more it's I just need things to happen. I need things to move and roll through the book so that I can really just get into this, and it's a happy experience. It's something good that I will enjoy. So yeah, this has ended up being kind of a long video, and I do apologize. I hope that in the future I will keep my videos around 15 minutes. I don't plan on having super long videos. And look at me say that, and then I'll have giant videos. But right now the plan is to review books and do so in a short and timely fashion that I have placed upon myself. Nobody else has said anything, but I decided that that's what I wanted to do. So I hope that this helped get to know me a little bit, and I hope that if you're interested, you can subscribe and like and comment below. I would love to get to know people, discuss books, and just see where this journey takes me. So yeah, I look forward to talking to people and sharing more content as the time goes by, and I really look forward to just, like I said, seeing where this takes me. So I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.